Pannar has been involved in the Santam Agriculture National Silage competition for a number of years now. And today, Grant Pringle talks to us about their involvement, and we also find out what else Pannar is up to. Grant, last time we spoke about what makes a good silage cultivar. I was hoping you could give a bit more insight into pros and cons of ultra quick and medium season growth class maize hybrids when used for silage.
No, Deirdre, the last time we spoke was just before the results of last year's silage competition. But that's an important question that we need to address in terms of the choice that a farmer is faced with when selecting hybrids. Your medium season hybrids are generally more yield stable between seasons. So that they are much more consistent and reliable in terms of the dry matter yield that they will deliver from one season to the next. And this can be seen when looking at the yield graph by the lower standard deviation of the yield of medium season hybrids compared to that of your ultra quick hybrids. And these hybrids, the results that we're looking at here is from 3 years of silage trials that we've done with a farmer on the same location, and they're grown under the same management conditions. So you can clearly see that the medium varieties tend to be more stable from one season to the next. They're also generally so with that more consistent yield, you're able to plan your fodder flow more accurately. So you can be more certain of how much silage you will have from one season to the next. So the mediums also generally have better disease tolerance and have a wider cutting window in terms of your harvest period. You will have a wider opportunity to cut your silage on a medium compared to that of an ultra quick. So in terms of the ultra quicks, the big advantage of the ultra quicks is they can be harvest ready as much as 3 weeks earlier than your medium season varieties. And that can have advantages in terms of your follow-up cropping and that type of scenario. So they do have that advantage of being harvest ready quite a lot quicker. And under high potential conditions, ultra quick varieties can yield very, very well. So if you're in a high potential environment, then you could consider using ultra quicks as quite a big proportion of your silage planting. Or if you're planting under irrigation, then ultra quicks can definitely be implemented in those scenarios. The other thing with ultra quicks is they will generally give you a higher energy or a higher starch percentage in your silage over medium season varieties. So I think that those are the pros and cons of the two growth classes of maize that we generally use in silage.
You mentioned that ultra quick hybrids produce silage with high energy value. Does this have advantages for the livestock farmer?
So energy is a very important component of most intensive livestock production systems. And especially in dairy scenarios, your energy is a portion of the ration that needs to be supplemented through a meal or a bagged ration. Obviously, that component of your ration can then become quite expensive. So the energy that you're feeding in that bagged ration is generally in the form of starch from grains. Okay, so that energy comes from starch. So yes, if you can produce a silage with a good starch component, you are providing yourself with homegrown feed, which should enable you to reduce your reliance on dairy meals or energy from a bag. So yes, you can. That component is important, and it is definitely of benefit to livestock producers on the whole. So high starch silage will reduce your reliance on energy from meal, And that's why it's important to know what the starch percentage of your silage is. Okay, so it's not only important from a cost perspective, but it can also be relevant from an animal health point of view. If you increase your silage intake of a high starch percentage silage, and you don't balance that without balancing your intake from a high energy meal that you might be feeding your stock, there is a danger of acidosis. So it's important that you work with your animal nutritionist, know the starch content of your silage, and enable yourself to balance that ration correctly so that you don't waste resources or run into problems with animal health.
What are your expectations from the competition as a sponsor?
Pannar has been a sponsor for the silage competition for the last couple of years, and Pannar as a company has also been in the South African farming community for a very long time, and we understand as Pannar that our success is dependent on the success of the farmers out there. So from our point of view, the farmers who are regularly entering this silage competition, they're starting to understand the parameters that influence the process of making silage. And the more knowledge you have, the better you can manage that process, and you will improve your results. It's a simple sum. If you know what you're doing wrong and you can fix those things, you should improve the quality of your silage. And if you're getting better results as a farmer, your chances at success are improving all the time. Yeah, so by helping farmers understand their silage production better, I think we can ensure that farmers are successful into the future.
That was Grant Pringle of Pannar.
Farmers work hard to grow their businesses. We cover the assets that keep those businesses growing.